Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Woon, one of the participants of the first Creative Producers Development Program. So I embark on this journey as I want to find out how I can expand my role in the arts industry. So be it called a producer or a creative producer, I do want to start producing, creating, facilitating, and enabling the projects that interest me. So thanks to NAC and CultureLink for initiating this program, I feel that it has provided me the access to quality learning overseas and locally. So though I'm working in Singapore Chinese Orchestra now, I've applied to this program under my own personal capacity. That's why I'm actually very grateful for my company for supporting and viewing this as part of my professional development. Special thanks to my colleagues who have to cover me during my 2 months of absence. Thank you. So during the residency, I actually went to several places with my host company to Milan, Venice, Ljubljana, Trieste, New York, and LA. Yep. I was attached to Parnassus Productions based in New York. So the creative and business driving force behind Parnassus is Tan Tun, a Chinese contemporary classical composer and conductor who has earned more widespread attention after composing for Ang Lee's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, for which he won the Oscars and Grammy Awards. So his other widely known works include Hero by Zhang Yimou, Banquet by Feng Xiaogang, as well as composing music for the medal ceremonies in the Beijing Olympics 2008. So for Tan Tun, he is foremost a composer and has also taken on multiple roles as artistic director, creative producers for his visionary projects that engages film, documentary, architecture, and nature. So apart from Tan Tun, I work very, very closely with Caitlin Ryan, who is the company manager of Parnassus Productions. She is a very, very close collaborator working with Tan Tun for 10 years to support and to realize his artistic vision. So for the 9 weeks of residency, I was exposed to the different stages of what basically creative producers do. In fact, you do everything. From the very initial stage of an idea exploration, research and work development, advocacy, relationship building, to the final presentation of the work. I would not say that it's the same piece of work, but I do experience different stages of that. So the international practices and gaining of practical skills knowledge through shadowing my mentor, it's really, really valuable. So just to look at what I've gone through for this 9 weeks, right? In the first phase of the residency, I followed Tan Tun to a few European cities where he plays the role of the guest conductor. So we were at Philharmonica della Scala in Milan, where they invited Tan Tun to conduct one of his older touring works. So it's very interesting to observe how he talked to the orchestra. He often praised the orchestra first, before weaving his demands subtly, because he believes that a happy musician will create the most beautiful music. So during the time when we are there, the musicians are working on 3 calls per day. It's very, very tiring. So on his first rehearsal with them, he make it intentional to them to say that, okay, he knows that they are tired, so he released them early. That's why the musicians are happy to work with him. So this is at a rehearsal with Slovenia Philharmonic Orchestra at Ljubljana. He requested the musicians to dance, okay, for one of the pieces. And that is actually a very, very big stretch for these classically trained musicians, but they did it anyway for him. Okay, so there are many commercial film offers after Tan Tun's Oscar win, but he did not immediately jump on them, as those projects clearly deviate away from his initial idea of how he wants to form a trilogy that circles around the common themes of love, sacrifice, and martial arts. So these are the three themes that he's looking for it. So the only other two films that he has created was for Hero and for Banquet, which he waited all in all for 12 years before the full completion. So this is now packaged as the martial arts trilogy, one of his most tourable production now. So this is where he performed with the LA Phil at the Hollywood Bowl. So that's all for the concert execution part that I'm talking about. So now back in the New York office, immediately he dived into the final development of two of the works that it's going to premiere in 2 weeks' time. So one of them is Passacaglia, Secret of Wind and Birds, commissioned by the Carnegie Hall, specifically for the National Youth Orchestra of the United States. So because all the players are youth, he thought the inclusion of a new instrument, so in this case, it's a handphone, which reflects our life and spirit today, will create a very great interest for the performers. So that's why he included handphone into the piece. Okay, so this is Tan Tun working with Ija Wong on his new work, Farewell My Concubine. But before this, he was actually conducting a workshop in the New York office with a rehearsal pianist to hear how it sounds before premiering the actual work. I would say it's amazing to hear how a new score slowly blossomed into an exciting piece of work where he allows the work to breathe and to develop before putting it on stage. I would say that this process, it's quite new for the music industry, maybe not so much for theatre where you constantly do workshop, but this I thought was important. Okay, so at the same time, so there are many things happening at the same time during my 9 weeks. Tan Tun, he started to work on a new project that he has been dreaming about for 1 to 2 years. So I'm fortunate to witness how he created this and his thought process. So to ensure that all the historical facts are presented accurately and to provide an inspiration for his creation, he engaged a PhD student to conduct the research on the subject matter. Of course, he's mindful that not to fall into the trap of making this into a historical work, but to allow research to take flight in a very creative way. So this is actually a very important process, starting point, before he constructs his work. So Tan Tun shared that once this paper, it's filled with words, when all the dots are joined, this is when he will then start constructing and penning his music. Okay, so as a creative producer of his own project, he created a 3-dimensional exploration of human senses of sound, sight, and memory, which has been themed Living in Future. This is actually part of an exhibition in the China Pavilion at the Venice Biennale. So you can see how he treats himself like not just a composer or a conductor, he is now a visual artist. So among the works that are featured in this Venice Biennale, it's Nu Shu, The Secret Songs of Women documentary. So this is where I've once again witnessed how a work can continuously evolve to have an extended life of its own. So you see, all the big ideas, development, execution, all this happened in a very, very small office space located at the basement of his house. So the setup of the company is very, very small, usually with just 1 to 2 full-timers, including the company manager. So the company works with many agencies who are experts in their particular field, such as the PR, the publisher, etc., where you have the whole team to support you. So partners pay them on a retainer basis, and this actually helped them to keep their overheads low, and also to allow them to have the flexibility to determine the scope of work for different kinds of project requirements. So apart from shadowing Tantun, I'm given my own time to do my own things. I was given the chance to observe Margaret Ling Tan, thanks for Culture Link to link me up, in action when she is workshopping for the new work that premiered in last year's SIFA. I'm not sure if anyone watched it. So this actually gave me a new perspective of how different musicians work during the development process. So now it comes to the second part of the program where the creative producers participants will attend Arts Market. This actually allowed me to see different things, to gain knowledge of the international scene, and to also build contacts. So I attended the Australian Performing Arts Market, in short, APAM, with Culture Link and one of my fellow CPDP participant, Natalie. She's now in Beijing doing her residency. So APAM is an industry event for contemporary performing arts, and it was held in Brisbane, Australia this year. Over 600 delegates from around 30 countries participated. This is actually not my first time visiting an arts market. I used to work in a festival, so I went there as like a programmer. But this is definitely my first time playing the exhibitor's role. It's a great experience as it provided me with different perspective of the workings in an arts market. Yeah, so from the involvement, I realized the importance of creating aesthetically pleasing booths that appeal to the delegates. When I walk around, there's a lot of booths that they just have flyers lying on the table. But for our table, for our booth, you can see that, yeah, everything looks good, right? So we had a good number of delegates who actually came over to the booth and commented that they were very impressed with how we present the information packs. And this is usually the conversation starter. And this is definitely an important area to take note if next time I would like to set up a booth in an arts market. Yeah, so things for everyone to learn. And one of the most valuable experience I've gained from the program, it's also the opportunity to have a dialogue with industry players. So my host company, Parnassus and Culture Link, linked me up with these people, and many learning points were actually drawn from just having dialogues with the industry players. So the most apparent realization for me is the importance of a strong artist-producer relationship. The creative producers, especially for APAM when I've witnessed that, they are always accompanied by their producers during showcase, during the pitches, during the networking platforms, etc. So while speaking to a few seasoned producers and artists, most of them agreed that the success of the work relies very heavily on the producer's vision. The best artist-producer relationship happened when the producer is not only able to stay true to the artist, but also with his or her own creativity. So the aim is actually to find a place where these two connect and to accomplish a common goal. So I feel that there's a lot of potential of how we build this relationship, the artist-producer relationship in Singapore. Next is witnessing how Tantun stretches the potential of his works. When Tantun starts on a new project, he's constantly thinking of its afterlife. So for Crouching Tiger, it can be a one-hit wonder. But he actually prolonged the stage appearances by furthering arranging the portions of the film score into first of all, the concerto for an orchestra, and then into the martial arts trilogy production, which featured 2 other films, Hero Banquet. He continuously revise, restage, reinvent his works that stretches each work's potential to its fullest. And the strong curating of the works make it a very successful touring production. So it was an eye-opener for me when I witnessed the long queue at the backstage where his friends, business associates will just wait for him and say hi. So I spoke to one of the producers at the Metropolitan Opera to find out how she started working with Tan Tun. She mentioned that it was actually a very long dating process. She familiarizes all the works that he has created. She flies over whenever she can show support of the premiering of his work to deepen that trust. So it took them 10 long years before she hands out the commissioning contract. So this is how they pursue each other. So same for Tan Tun. He places a very high emphasis on the importance of having friends. So most of the business associates has become his family friend. As he spends most of his time in China now, he ensures that he reconnects with his friends, collaborators, and business partners for meals when he's back in New York, because he truly believes that relationship building and not just networking, it's what will make the next project a success. This part. Building familiarity of the work, it's very, very important, especially if it is a new piece of creation. So for my mentor, he personally takes a lot of attention in creating the knowledge of the work from different angles. So he believes that every moment is a golden opportunity in creating significant documentation of the work. So like in one of the workshops for a new work development, we will place videos, carefully placed to capture the developmental process. These archival materials are constantly reviewed, and once we find suitable footages, photos, it will be uploaded on social media platforms to create news angles, talking points on a piece of new work. So as some of these events are a bit more time sensitive, it's important to treat the materials prompt and timely manner. If not, whatever I've recorded earlier, it will just be archival. Yeah. So what's next for me after completing the residency? I've recently submitted a project seeking for funding to kickstart the creation process on a 40-minute oratorio for an orchestra. So this project will tell stories of three men from the past, well-regarded entrepreneur, Bun Hao, Tiger Bum, prominent Chinese philanthropist, Tan Kaki, and a radical modern Chinese short story writer and poet, Yu Dafu. So these three men, they are born in different parts of the world, but they cross each other's paths when fate brought them together in Singapore. So my intention of this project is to use the official and unofficial histories of the three characters to explore the ideas of their intermingled lives and to reimagine the lives of these overseas Chinese in Singapore in a broader context. So I hope that my project will be given funding so as for me to kickstart the whole creation research process. So this is what I have to share now. Thank you.